Today, we're not just reviewing the Chris Pratt sci-fi thriller Mercy. Oh no, we are performing an autopsy. We're going to break down, piece by piece, exactly how a film with so much promise ended up as a complete, unmitigated disaster. All right, let's make the first incision.
I mean, have you ever really had that feeling where it's like they looked you right in the eye, shook your hand, and then just stole 2 hours of your life you are never, ever getting back? Yeah, that feeling? That's our starting point for understanding Mercy.
See, the fundamental problem with Mercy is this giant canyon between what it wanted to be and what it actually was. The expectation was something smart, something high concept, like Black Mirror or Minority Report. But the reality? It felt like being trapped in a 90-minute Zoom meeting with a really, really bad connection. So, let's look at our first piece of evidence in this autopsy. I'm calling it the high concept lie. This is where the whole premise, the marketing, it all wrote a massive check that the actual movie couldn't even begin to cash.
Man, just look at these ingredients. On paper, this thing should have been an absolute home run. You've got a man accused of murder, a futuristic AI judge, a race against time, digital surveillance, moral questions. All the pieces are there for a story that should have you on the edge of your seat. It's the kind of pitch that gets you genuinely excited. And then you watch the movie, and all of that amazing promise just evaporates. The ticking clock? There's no urgency. The investigation? There's no chase, no real danger. It's just a guy in a chair staring at floating screens and holograms. Instead of tension, we just got clicking.
And that really gets to the heart of it. The film became so obsessed with showing off its cool-looking fake user interfaces that it completely forgot to be a movie. It was less about telling a story and more like a very, very long advertisement for some software that doesn't even exist.
Okay, let's move on to charge number 2 because it's a big one. The criminal misuse of its lead actor. I mean, Chris Pratt is one of the most charismatic stars we have. So how on earth did this movie manage to make him so boring?
It's almost like they followed a manual. Step 1, you take a dynamic, physical actor and you strap him to a chair. Step 2, you lock him in a single room for almost the entire runtime. And step 3, you make him spend the whole movie talking to inanimate screens. Every single tool in his acting toolbox was just taken away.
And this gets to the core problem with the character. He has zero agency. Things just happen to him. He doesn't make choices that push the story forward. He just reacts to the next pop-up window. He has no arc, no growth. He's just luggage being dragged through his own story.
Which, of course, brings us right to the heart of the matter, the script itself. The screenplay for Mercy is just a classic case of being filled with cool-sounding buzzwords, but having absolutely no deep ideas behind them. It's all sizzle and no steak.
This description of the AI judge, it's just perfect. This AI should have been the philosophical core of the movie, right? A complex being grappling with justice. Instead, it just spouts these shallow, pseudo-profound questions. It's like Siri trying to sound deep after binge-watching a couple of TED Talks. The script is constantly name-dropping these huge, important themes. It wants you to think it's about AI justice, surveillance, privacy, all of it. But it never actually explores any of them. It just throws an idea out there and then immediately gets distracted by the next shiny object. And really, that's the final diagnosis for the script. Every single time the story gets close to an interesting question or a moment of real complexity, it just pulls back. It actively avoids any kind of thoughtful exploration, and it leaves the whole experience feeling completely superficial.
So, what do you get with a faulty concept, a wasted star, and a shallow script? Well, you get a movie that fails at its most basic job, being a thriller. And that brings us to our next exhibit, the complete and total illusion of tension.
You know, thrillers, they run on a very specific kind of fuel. You need pressure that builds and builds. You need the stakes to keep escalating. And you absolutely need to feel that there are real, meaningful consequences if our hero fails. Mercy is running on empty in all 3 of those categories.
So instead of suspense, what the film creates is this incredibly tedious loop. A problem appears on a screen. The character clicks something. Another screen appears. A so-called twist is revealed on, you guessed it, another screen. It's not tension. It's just a repetitive, boring cycle that basically puts you to sleep.
And that ending is the final insult. It tries so hard to make this big, profound statement about humanity and technology, but it's completely unearned. It doesn't resolve anything. It just hands you this generic platitude like something you'd find inside a fortune cookie.
Okay, time to bring it all together. After examining all the evidence, it's time for the final verdict on Mercy. And look, this isn't just a bad movie. It's a comprehensive case study in how to fail on almost every level.
Final verdict is that this film is first and foremost overwritten. It's just full of clunky dialogue that's constantly telling you what's happening instead of actually showing you.
Second, it's completely underthought. For all its slick, complex visuals, it never bothered to think through a single one of its core ideas.
Third, it's emotionally empty. You feel absolutely no connection to the characters, no sense of the weight of their situation, nothing.
And finally, it's just conceptually hollow. A shiny, high-tech shell with absolutely nothing of substance inside.
This movie isn't too smart for the room. It's not some misunderstood masterpiece. The failure is actually very simple. The filmmakers confused showing off technology with actual intelligence, and they confused staring at screens with good storytelling. And in the end, they gave us nothing real to hold on to. So we end on this question. Mercy isn't just a sci-fi thriller that didn't quite work. It feels more like a warning shot. It's a glimpse into a future where movies have all the right looks and all the high-tech gloss, but they forget the one thing that actually truly matters: a human soul.